Satoru Gojo is the most hated and loved character in Jujutsu Kaisen and possibly one of the most powerful characters in the anime so far. But he is not just a peerless jujutsu sorcerer, he is considered a charismatic persona. Being a teacher at the Tokyo Judo School, we can say that he is inspired by Hitaki Kakashi. Being the most powerful jutsu sorcerer, Gojo has skills. Welcome everyone to our first video on the Anime Adventure channel. Satoru Gojo has already proven to us that he has potential. In the anime, we now have 2 or 3 occasions in which he has demonstrated that he doesn't put in much effort in certain difficult battles. One of them was against Sukuna, when he only had one finger at the beginning of the story, or when he went to fight Jogo, where he showed most of his powers and how they worked. What are these powers? Despite being fun, he is always worried about his students and friends. Satoru is unsympathetic and even cruel at times towards the bureaucracies of witchcraft institutions. He is extremely confident in his own abilities to the point of appearing arrogant at times. He considers himself the most powerful and even invincible jutsu sorcerer. But no wonder, of course, he has such absurd power that not even we can say exactly what his power is. Gojo was born into a privileged family, a very powerful family of jujutsu sorcerers. Since he was little, he was prepared to become a great sorcerer. Since he was little, the family always trained him, even more so due to the hereditary fact that he ended up being born. A skill that is simply extremely rare even among his own family. This skill was known as the Six-Eye skill. Since he was little, he was so strong that he was recognized both by curses and by jujutsu sorcerers themselves. To get a sense of his level, he has a colossal amount of cursed energy and also has an impeccable command of all this energy. It is vast enough that he can simply use a domain expansion multiple times during the day. This would be completely different from any other sorcerer that he could only use once. The expansion of his domain is known as Unlimited Vacuum, where he simply creates a metaphysical space that makes victims receive all kinds of stimulation and information infinitely at the same time. Perception, movement, and vision are all performed infinitely, preventing the person from thinking, seeing, and feeling at the same time. It makes a person think, see, and feel. I know it's crazy, but this technique prevents the enemy from receiving complete information about what is happening. So, it ends up kind of preventing the person from doing anything, even moving. It is such a powerful technique that he can activate it in just 0.2 seconds, limiting the effects of those he wants within the technique. He can put more than one person in the technique, but only one of them. If there are 2 enemies and he wants only one to suffer the effects of the technique, he can choose. As I said, he is such a powerful guy that, in addition to being able to do this, he can activate his domain in a few seconds. He can also use curse reversals, even combining positive and negative cursed energies, which we are going to talk about. But there is even a specific ability of his that is known as Limitless. This curse technique allows the user control over space, which ultimately allows manipulation at an atomic level. This skill results in similar techniques, but with different effects, as is the case with Infinity, which is one of the skills shown in the fight Gojo vs. Jogo. It is known to be a stopping things ability. In fact, it's a power that Satoru has to slow things down completely. That is, when something tries to throw a punch or throw something at Gojo, it doesn't actually hit Gojo. It reached infinity between him and Gojo. It's as if it were an infinite vacuum barrier, and the closer it gets to Gojo's body, its speed decreases more and more, making it impossible to touch Satoru Gojo if he doesn't want to be touched. We also have the Blue Lapse Curse technique. This is when it concentrates enough negative energy to form a vacuum point. Gojo simply achieves a scenario where the rest of the world tries to fill this vacuum that he created there, ending up causing the effect in which all matter in a given space is sucked into this point in vacuum. Not to mention that he can also increase the potential of this vacuum then. The tip of it comes close to creating a mini black hole where simply all matter is compressed and destroyed in a violent way. He can simply manipulate the attraction point freely wherever he wants, increasing the destructive power. In addition to the blue curse technique, he also has the reverse curse technique, known as the red technique, being an inversion of blue. Red has a reverse effect that causes a point of extreme repulsion. That is, instead of attracting, it actually throws things away. And the great fact is that it is created by a positive cursed energy. That is, this makes it twice as strong as blue energy. So, it has twice as much power to throw things away as it does to suck things into this very strong black hole, right? Do his skills end there? Don't worry, it's not over yet. There are many more things. He can simply combine these 2 techniques to the point of creating a new technique known as Hollow Purple, where he combines the attraction and repulsion of blue and red to create a singularity that simply distorts space and erases all matter in its path. Instantly, to make it simpler for you to understand, it takes the technique that pulls and the technique that throws, puts the two together, and they do both things at the same time, creating an imaginary mass that, from the collision of these two infinities, generates a technique known as the void technique that can destroy anything in front of it. It simply erases from existence. If we were to explain this in a scientific way, we could say that, according to Einstein's theory of general relativity, he can also create a gravitational frequency and time changes by alternating between these two techniques. In short, Gojo's power is infinite. Even with so much power, our Gojo also has barrier techniques, such as the curtain, where he can create a barrier around a certain area. This curtain can simply seal this area against the entry of anyone else or even just a specific person. He can prevent this person or people from entering or leaving this barrier to avoid damage, sometimes from a city or something like that when he is fighting. But do you know Gojo's secret technique? It can be said that it is the most awaited one so far. The 6 eyes. With this technique, Gojo can simply have an extrasensory perception of everything that happens around him. He can see much more than a normal person. Hence the name 6 eyes. He has an absurd and much greater perception than any other jujutsu sorcerer. He receives stimuli and information all the time when he is looking at things, be it power level, health. He receives a lot of stimuli from the environment. This means he can analyze and understand his enemy's abilities just by looking at them. Yuta even stated that the 6 eyes allow him to reduce consumption from cursed energy to practically nothing, which, added to the monstrous amount he has, more or less means that he would not be without cursed energy during a fight. It would kind of be a perfect combination with all the other skills he has, absurd power, and using practically none of the power he has to execute everything he can do. However, this ability still has a weak point, which in fact I don't even know if we can call it a weak point. Gojo kind of doesn't control this ability. He can't activate or deactivate abilities whenever he wants. For example, Kakashi's Sharingan is always active, at least at the beginning of the Naruto story. That's why he wears this blindfold, so he can't use this power forever without any need. He doesn't receive all this stimulus, various information all the time from all sides in an unnecessary way. He releases his eyes only when he is in combat or when he wants to fight seriously. We're sure this character caught his and everyone's attention. I'm sure you're also excited to see Gojo's powers, if you haven't already. And seeing this guy is a myth, an iconic anime character who shows us all his power in a spectacular way. As top as it is, you are the ones who follow us and help us, giving our channel that strength to always continue producing content, working towards quality. So, subscribe, leave your like and share for more.